Alright guys, it is the Reaper Man here, and today we are going to be going over the Bandit Camp dungeon. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you're going to need is obviously your Infinity Bow. I believe one will get provided for you, but always a good practice to keep it. Either a hook staff or a Wonder of Sky, which is my personal favorite of all the grapple shot wands, and then just all your generic gear, ender pouch and bundle for offloading, money pouch for getting rid of the money, and preferably some food. I prefer potions of hunger saturation. Okay, here we go. We're going to go ahead and save this village from bandits. Easiest way to go ahead and do this is singularity them, target them out somehow. Interesting thing with the rats, you'll see about half of the houses they can't even leave, so you can just easily murder the rats, get them done, and start looting the houses. First house here, you have a chest right upstairs, right there. That's the only lootable chest. All the other ones are just for show. Go around outside to the next house. Gonna be a rat in here. You just kill him real quick. Loot one chest right here. Now Bandit Camp is going to be really good. You're going to be getting all kinds of nightmare ingots, mithril ingots now were added in, and a ton of platinum as well as money. You can usually expect between all the drops selling to the various vendors and players, roughly 40-50 mil from a dungeon, assuming you offload every single item and don't use any of it. So you got the chest up there. Now they're coming at me. Let me go ahead and pop a potion. Hunger saturation is nice because you can just keep healing, keep on running it through and not worry about it. You can get a few from this dungeon as well though. This chest I believe is supposed to have loot. It is not right now, so I will go ahead and let him know, but in the future that might have loot. Go over here. First floor. Singularity, a lot of rats in there and a couple rats outside. Make sure we pop them out. Chest here also doesn't have loot. Alright, I'm gonna go let him know this one now because this is not one I told him about before. Same with the cart outside, looks like a lootable chest, but the one downstairs used to have loot is that I was confused. Alright, but we got that there, and we do have up here some, let me see, no chest up here, it's the other roof I'm thinking of. Pop out here, let's go ahead and get these guys here, get them killed, and we can go ahead and loot these chests over here. This is going to be one of your first tier 3 chests coming up over here. All these other ones are just tier 1, tier 2, not, as you see, even the tier 2 chests even just give you, platinum. That right there is 360k in platinum before we even get to the first boss, a bunch of XP, nightmare ingots, so we're doing pretty well. We rock over here, we got another tier 1. Over here is going to be your first tier 3 chests. Like I said, this place is a lot of loot, and if you just want to speedrun to the boss, you can as well. You could probably do the dungeon in only about 5 minutes if you actually just wanted to speedrun the boss without full looting everything, but full looting is pretty important, especially when it is one of the most valuable dungeons you can be running. Pop right out here, so we go ahead and pop that singularity there, meaning rat's gonna be stuck against that wall. Run in here, loot your tier 1 chest, and keep her going. But if you want 100% this does tend to be one of the longer dungeons. It does have just quite a lot going on with it. So there we go, we have another tier 3 chest down here in the well. Some people think it's a tier 4 chest. It very well might be. I don't seem to get tier 4 loot out of it. Pop it up right here. Go ahead and get us out here. Here we go. Let's kill them real quick. All those chests are not lootable. The ones up here are all lootable. Bunch of tier 1 chests, but like I was saying, tier 1 chests here still provide a lot of money. See, not lootable. That up there looks lootable as well. Oh, I missed, but that is not lootable either. So let's go ahead and spawn all them here. Go ahead and get a singularity off. And this is one of the perfect times to go ahead and pop a magic bomb there. And I'll let me go ahead and just clear all of them out without much issue at all. There's no rat in this house, so it's a pretty easy tier 2 chest. You head back on out. Sniper you can snipe. We're going to be going back over here later, but right now we skip that. Just so we can go ahead and full loot down here because there's quite a bit of loot down here as well. As you can see, my inventory is already starting to fill up. Sacks are a necessity here, especially with the ender pouch. If you want to take all this juicy loot home, get all that money going. There we go. Come over here. Sometimes there's a donkey over there. I like killing for a little bit of hunting XP. It's just interesting. Come over here. Let me make sure I don't miss it this time. There we go. And there we go. Now this right here is going to be one of your tier 4 chests. Is actually a very good chest right there. Go ahead and load up what you can into here. Again, bundles are very, very necessary. Run on through, spawn what I can. Singularity right there. Now, I have to do this dungeon with the sound off. There's just far too much noise with all the AoEs and everything. So I do apologize for the quiet if you wanted actual sound, but you'd be hearing nothing but glass breaking constantly. This is not one of the dungeons that is too, where you can have sound on. It's just far too fast paced. You will not hear anything else. Walk down here is one of your big loot rooms. Now, ancient paper, a lot of people don't like picking it up. You don't really need it, so if you don't want to leave it out and drop it, you can. I know just sometimes people will buy the ancient paper 100k a stack. So I'll gladly spend one inventory slot just getting 100k, especially if I have plenty of it. Pop my last hunger saturation. I should start getting some more soon. But you see you eat through hunger here. Look up right here. This is one of your tier 3 chests. Biggest loot. Ignore them. Singularities, finish them off while I'm running. This right here, you got a tier 2 chest, and then, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is your second tier 4 chest. I'll also in this guide be showing you the secret loot room that is not quite on the main path, does take quite a bit of backtracking, tends to be worth it, but it does have a few completely solo drops you can't get anywhere else. So it's always worth for a collector to at least get some of them in their collection. Go ahead, double jump up here. Pop a singularity, just pre-plan. A lot of loot here. Mostly tier 1 chests. I believe there's 2 tier 2 chests in here. I could be wrong, could just be the one. But again, ingots, those steel ingots, that right there is 150k plus of steel ingots. Let's assume you can only sell for 10k. I believe you can probably get 50k for most steel ingots right nowadays. Right here, there's your tier 3 chest. You got another tier 3 chest coming at the end of this tunnel. Keep in mind, none of these tiers are necessarily guaranteed. I could be off plus or minus 1 tier. These ones are not specifically named, so I just go generally based off of what kind of loot I get off of them. Easiest way you can guarantee something's a tier 1 chest is it only has the one line though. Alright, there's another tier 3. Up and we dash. So we go ahead and skip over to here. As far as I'm aware, there's no chest on this hill. I've not been able to find any, but there is a tier 3 chest here in the water. And then we're going to go ahead and go to this barn and go ahead and get us another tier 2 and a tier 3. Getting pretty unlucky on these tier 3s and tier 4s though, not getting many bosses. But usually I'll walk out of this dungeon with at least 6 bosses. I've walked out with as much as 15 before though, so it just really depends on how lucky you get. There's your tier 3. See right there, that's the boss I'm talking about. So I'm already at 2 bosses. We're not even halfway done with the dungeon. This is full extra content right here. You don't even have to do this. You can skip fully over this part. And then from here, you go ahead and zoom right back to the cave I told you we were going to. So when you come up here, you can just come straight to the cave if you like. This is where you're going to start needing that bow. Shoot right there. Now, chest right there if you need a bow. But this right here is going to be the door that opens when you get the secret. So keep that in mind. We'll come back to here later. Let's go ahead and drop some stuff on him. But as we're looting, we have chest 1 here. Tier 1 chest, nothing major. Tier 1 chest, nothing major. Yeah, I like to go to the roof first and then patch everything up else up after that. So we'll go ahead and see that here in a second. Step 1 for roof. Sometimes you need to crouch to get through there. You get in here. Now this room is pretty nice. Nothing's gonna attack you in here. You can relax, loot all these chests. Alright, once you're in, go here, double jump up, cross. Now you can get in this room from over there. I tend to do that before going to the other room. Has a couple other lootables as well. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to loot this, and then we're going to go back out real quick. So this is another one of those tier 3 chests. Plenty of loot. Trust me, there's absolutely no limit of loot in this dungeon. That is another path you can take. There is a chest at the end of that path, but I tend to backtrack just straight over here. You go singularity, spawn to all the dudes in the hallway. They can go ahead and die. Here's another tier 3 chest right here. Yes, this place will fluff out both your gems, fluff out your money, fluff out your ores. You get emeralds galore here. And we're just at the entrance of the actual dungeon. Inventory is already almost full. I'd usually recommend bringing more than one bundle on out, but I tend to just be pretty good with the one. It's just a matter of what all you want to take. Walk right in here. First one, singularity. Hit them there. Now, this is a hidden chest. Oh, there's nothing in this chest. Huh. This is a tier 4 chest, and I know for a fact I've looted this one before, so... Wait. That's weird. One side doesn't, one side does. Interesting. I guess I just always click the right side on that one. We go on up here. Now this is going to be the tier 4 we missed. Or tier 3 we missed, sorry, that one's not a tier 4. There is a tier 4 out and about in this cave, but I believe it's farther down. So here's a tier 3, pretty good. The only real distinction I've learned between a tier 2 and a tier 3 is tier 3s will contain boss drops sometimes. They tend to be the ones you need the bundles for, boss drops and gems. But most of the chests in this dungeon I've seen potentially drop boss drops. So unless it's just in a tier 2, that's tier 2. Unless you're just in one of the tier 2 things on this dungeon that they can drop boss drops. I imagine Paint likes to keep it pretty uniform though. Also, as you can see, you get a ton of experience. 64k already. I'm going to go ahead and drop some of these full stacks off into my pouch. Time for me to start eating some food. Here we go. Yeah, these bandits have a lot of health, so you gotta be very careful because they will kill you. I'm gonna go ahead and select them all up the rooftop there. Easiest way to get them all clumped together. Now you gotta also be careful, there's a lot of cleric bandits, so they will sneak up on you, they'll keep dudes alive that you expect to die. Let's go ahead and spawn them all here so we can go ahead and get our freedom. Again, up to the roof. Easiest singularity spot is always the roof. If you're ever unsure if there's ever anything in the way you think could be blocking them, put them to the roof and obviously they all go up. Run through here. Now this is going to be another tier 3 chest. I believe it's this one then? Yes. This one I tend to get a cur and rot from. You come down here, and this will go ahead and take you up to the secret passageway. This is path number 1. Now this is just right behind here. It takes you pretty much the same way. This is probably about the halfway point of the dungeon. This is where you really get to the real meat and potatoes of the dungeon though. Right up here we got bam. Bam. Now I tend to go ahead and rush the side boss just so we can go ahead and head back at this point. Because I don't want to be sorting out my inventory towards the end of the dungeon after we have to run all the way back. Sometimes you get lucky. Yep, we got lucky here. We got a double spawn of boss. Now, this mini boss is one of the interesting ones. It has a lot of side drops. It can drop a cool sword. It can drop the cheese. It can drop, let's think what else. Blanking off the top of my head. The cheese might be a spear actually, but it drops a sword. It can drop a spear. And I believe it can drop an armor set if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken on the armor set. That might be the other area in here. But as you can see, they take quite a beating. Yep, there's the cheese right there. Toxic sludge. That's going to be good for generic crafting. Let's go ahead and get you down here. Only got the one cheese, but there we go. That's the cheese if anyone was curious what it looked like. It is a pretty nice spear. Now this is going to be the first thing you have to do for the secret. You have to hit this button. Now we are swimming in ancient coins right now, so let's go ahead and pack our bags real quick and head on back. This is also where you can get a bunch of money bags from this dungeon. Benefit of money bags is it saves you 3 mil from buying it from the store. Realistically, you can probably buy it from our player for 500, maybe even less right now. But currently, I think their going rate is about 500k. Once this guide comes out, it'll probably tank a little bit. So fully expected to be maybe even down to 250k. It's just really a matter of who actually takes it when they go into the dungeons. I know a bunch of people tend to take a money bag into the dungeons anyway, so no reason not to just take it in stack. But we head on back. Now this is going to be the secret loot of the dungeon. Go ahead and pop this open. Run all the way on back. And here we go. This is where you're going to get the secret loot. Now, Bandit Queen is the custom armor set here. I don't believe it currently has any special effects or anything like that. It just tends to exist. But in here is where you're going to find a bunch of tier 1. There's a tier, that is a bad tier 4 chest on my end, but there is 2 tier 4 chests, I believe. And a couple tier 3. There we go. Now as you can see also, it drops hella crates. We're talking you'll be down to maybe even 30 crates by the end of this dungeon. Netherite out the ass as well. Netherite being 30k each to spawn makes this stack already over a mil. Let's go ahead and eat all that in there. There we go. That's our fancy loot from the secret dungeon. Now at this point we have 2 options. If you're watching, I'll go ahead and show you the first, and then I'll go show you the secondary option. First option is you can go ahead, if you just want to speedrun that loot chest, that's going to give you probably 75% of the loot with about half the effort. So it's really a matter of how much time you want to spend on this dungeon, because it's mostly front-loaded, a lot like the fire dungeon I've shown already. First option, you run up here. You can go ahead and finish clearing that room out, do whatever you want to do over there. All these chests right here, mostly tier 1s. I believe the chests up top are tier 3s. However, there's actually a tier 3 right here. That might be a tier 4 even, but I believe it's a tier 3. Go ahead and eat what we can. Yeah, as you can see, it fills up inventory quite quick. No. Oh no. I appear to be lagging a bit. 1 second. There we go. I believe they're probably just doing some kind of building. And then you go here, and this is the boss. This is the final boss. This is just the end of the dungeon right here. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, no, because you can't come back out of that. To come back, I'd have to run all the way through the dungeon, but you absolutely can kill him and then complete the dungeon if you would like, if you just want to make sure you go went ahead and guaranteed the completion, so you don't lose it. You absolutely could. Now, I run through here. These mobs I tend to ignore and just come back to loot after I do what I need to do, because spawning them is the easiest part. But, you know, mage things, I have singularity. If you are not a mage, it might be best for you to go ahead and do this slowly. Pretty much the only benefit to mage is these dungeons. They clear bosses rather slow, but dungeons, they do very, very well. Alright, first order of business, you walk in here, you shoot this up on the roof. Tier 1 chest. Okay. Got yourself a tier 2 chest, tier 1 chest. Again, plenty of just mid loot at this point on. You're not going to be getting a ton of boss summons at this point on until you get to the very end of this side portion. And now we open this up here, go up here, double jump. I pop a singularity here because I killed both sides, everyone in there and out here. Alright, so we open up the next area, we come in here, there's going to be a couple tier 3 chests. I believe it's 2 tier 3 chests and 1 tier 1. Nope, it is all tier 3 chests. Go ahead and sort some inventory a little bit. Again, as you can see, plenty of resources. I cannot stress this enough. This is probably the dungeon with the most chests. Go ahead, ignore him, run on over. Your next door that you just opened is going to be up here. To the left. Pop on the wall. Get the rat inside as well. Now, I like to go in this door here and then clear out from here. So, door right here. Jump in. Tier 1. There we go. Head on over. Now, you see this chest right here, you can barely see. That is a tier 3 chest. Really should be a tier 4 with how well hidden it is, but I'm not going to complain about the loot quality of this dungeon when there's already so much in it, right? Come over here, loot that there. We're fine. Open this right here, get in. Open this right here. Go here, tier 4 chest. There's a nice potion of hunger saturation. Like I said, you get these galore in this dungeon. I tend to use them specifically in the dungeon itself. I think it seems to be the most efficient way just because it is such a long dungeon. Saves you at least the time of eating. Another tier 4 chest right here. Absolutely loot galore. Look up, you shoot this on the roof. You open this and you just go ahead and back right out. See, full circle if you go that way. That opens this right here. You can go that way if you'd like to further the dungeon. This way is completely optional. Alright, let's go ahead and pop that there. Spawn everyone I can. No, it's tier 1, tier 3, Tier 1. Tier 1. Tier 1. Tier 1. Tier 2. Tier 1. And I believe, yeah, that's a tier 3 from earlier. Tier 2. So ahead, once again, empty our inventory. About time we probably stop taking paper even. Maybe carrots is probably what I stop taking next, but you go ahead, open up here. Run on 3, you go down, push the button. Singularity, get them all in the corner. Kill them on out, so pop right out here. Shoot that there. Go ahead, double jump up, and you get here, tier 2. Go through here. Go ahead and double jump on up, miss. Go ahead and use your grapple hook. You go here, get the tokens. That's a tier 2 chest. You got here, this is a tier 4 chest right here. Just again, quantity of loot is absolutely absurd in this dungeon. It takes forever if you want to get it all, but boy is it worth it if you get it all. I'd probably say the only other dungeon better than it is Fire Dungeon. That's just because it's far less time. Here you go ahead and go, or real quick you want to go up here and then unlock the door. That gets you your way out. And you say here you go down all the way, nope, one more up. There you go. One away from the bottom. Using this, you go down here. So there we go. Got that there. You get your little carpet right there. Circle around out here. Jump up here. You got yourself a tier 1. That's pretty good tier 1 actually. Give me a money bag. Again, I like spawning everyone in this little hallway. Popping a singularity on the ground. Just helps get rid of a lot of the useless chaff that you want to be fighting. Unfortunately, if you're not like Mage, you don't have a I don't want to fight button. You will unfortunately need to kill everyone. But most classes will probably be pretty decent at just full clearing it in probably just a couple seconds. Now here is one of your alternative paths. You can go up to the roof. Now Bandit has a lot of alternative paths with less combat, but also less loot. There's no loot directly on those alternative paths, except for that one swimming path. So it's best to just ignore them and go ahead and head on over. Go onto the bunks. That right there, yet another alternative path. Just leads you right here, as you can see. What that does is it just makes you not have to fight people in this room. Tier 1 chest in here. Go ahead, pop singularity. We're almost done with this little side passageway. You got this going right there. Go ahead and fall down the hole. Got your water. Yep, and right there. Go ahead. Usually if you can get in here, you're pretty safe. You can just murder anyone you need to murder. Lure them all over here. Alright, so we go ahead and head up here. Nope. Don't do like me, don't get caught in those cobwebs. This right here is a tier 3 chest. Go ahead and eat that pearl with your bundle. Remember, bundle for any of your boss summons or gems is usually optimal. If you're only bringing one bundle, you probably shouldn't be eating the chests. But I am, so. I'm not really stressing on being the most loot efficient here, but I'm sure you guys can all sort out exactly what you need and what you don't. To be honest with you, with how plentiful nightmare ingots are from this dungeon, I very much so imagine the second this guide gets released and a couple of people who are at the level to do this but aren't quite knowledgeable enough to complete this dungeon, because it is probably the hardest in terms of full completing. The price of Nightmare will probably dump even further than it already is, or at least all the chests will be full, and then there will be no more player shop economy for it, so it'll only be spawn whenever he adds that. Walking right up here. Now, up here is a tier 4 chest you do not want to miss out on. Very, very good tier 4 chest, this one. Usually bosses or gemstones galore. Walk in here, you crouch, they can't get in after you, so you can just go ahead and ignore them, drop a little AoE on the door, however you do it. Walk on to the next room. This is going to be one of your side passageways, but it's okay, because, boom, tier 4 chest. This one doesn't exactly ditch you on anything, it doesn't skip anything majorly important, but just the fact that you can get 2 tier 4 chests right here is pretty good. If you have an elytra, it tends to be best to go under that door. I don't bring elytras to dungeons, I like my inventory space. That one extra slot just tends to not be worth it. But some people bring the dragon elytra just to go ahead and guarantee them some speed ups. Now here, right here, we're about to reach the next big loot room past that secret loot room. Run through this whole passageway. Go right here, pop another one of those on in. There we go. Go ahead, double jump our way up here. Now this is going to be your next big loot room. Again, bigger the loot room, the less super high tier chests there are. It's just going to be a few high tier chests and a bunch of tier 1s. But I can, again, can't stress this enough. I've said it 20 times already. These tier 1 chests are still profit. 5 steel, that's about 250k at the current prices. Make your money where you can. Don't need to nitpick exactly, well, this chest isn't that good. This loot room is not as good as the other one was. You make your money off every single one of these chests. They add up. After this, I'll just go ahead and see if I can't show exactly what all I got from here. If I'm not lazy, I might make an actual thing showing the exact returns on it and exactly what the money is. I would not get your hopes up, so after the end of this video, if you don't see any kind of edit, it'll come at a later date, but it's not necessarily coming right away. Let's go ahead and see here. I got my food around here somewhere, don't I? I put it all in the bag, didn't I? Yes, I did. There we go. We go up again. We already opened this path, and we go. Now we can go ahead and just complete the dungeon. That is the extent of the main bit. Now, as you see, we're walking out of here. This is kind of low rolling, and we're walking out of here with 9 bosses. 9 whole bosses from a dungeon. In about 30 minutes, you can get that down to probably 20 if you're really, really working at it. Then we just have to fight Kern Rot, which, if you haven't fought him already, you're going to be fighting him a lot after this point for both this dungeon and the generic boss fight. Why is it not letting me? Burning Hands, there we go. See, I may have burned all my mana on my AoE. And for this mode, I tend to like being up here. It just feels safer. Sometimes he'll knock you off, but it's very unlikely. You don't really have to deal with him as much. But I mean, hey, pinning him against the wall and just beating him up is always a valid strategy. I imagine as a warrior or a brute, you just don't even need to worry about the hits from him. You can just tank him. As a mage, when you're wearing the level 40 armor in here, before level 60, you're taking a lot of damage. At level 60, you mitigate most of it. Alright, there we go. And that right there is the dungeon. So let's go ahead and get out of this dungeon. Go ahead and go over everything we went to the door, and we go ahead and leave. Everyone remember to go to /PW Key Shop. Vote a day does keep all your bills paid. So let's go ahead and go over here. See what all we got for loot. So let's just go ahead and go through it quick. Let's ignore all the emeralds and diamonds. Let's just say they're worthless, even though they're not. Let's just assume these diamonds and emeralds aren't worth anything. I'm going to say the same for silver. Silver's next to worthless. But let's go ahead and here. Dark metal, that right there, 2.8 mil in dark metal. We're rocking out of there with 2.25 stacks of coins. Walking out of there with about 140k XP. You got tons of Essence of Decay. Steel's about 50k each, so you're walking out with a ton of steel. Nightmare to players with about 50k each. Again, likely it's going to plummet to worthless after this. There's just not enough uses for it. So once more people start using it, it's going to be completely worthless. Netherite being 30k each, you're looking at easily 1.8 mil per stack right there. Another stack of steel, almost a stack of money bags right there. Inside the bundle we have 9 bosses. Each boss at this tier is almost a mil each. All kinds of gems. You can just say gems are worthless, they're just useful for when you need them. I'm sure if you get some of the good ones at Flawless, eventually they're worth 500k, but I'm not going to do the math on what they end up being. You sit here, you get the eye is just used for crafting. It's always worth having. Toxic sludge just used for crafting. Peace skull just used for crafting. But all together, you're sitting here, you're walking out of there with easily 50 mil. After the bosses and everything, especially, you're probably walking out with 70 to 80 if you're lucky. But alright, everyone. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.